Okay, my name is Eden Blaser. I am Jenny's daughter, and today is September 1st, 2019. We're here in Park City. Here with Grandma and Grandpa. I'm going to ask them some questions. Okay, so the first question I have was, what was the first big political event that you remember as a child, and how did it affect you at that time?
Oh, I guess I would have to say World War II. We were quite young at the time, but it was a really big part of our life. We were living in Southern California, and my father worked at Lockheed Aircraft, and that was very much involved in preparation for when we entered the war. So I grew up having not only fire drills at school, but air raids in case if the enemy would fly over and try to bomb where the planes were being made in California. So that was a big part during those few years.
And of course I remember the war years. We were born the same year, so I remember the war years. I also remember when my dad got to meet President Truman. He came to Idaho Falls one time when he was running against Dewey for president, and I remember being so proud of, I didn't know he was going to be the president, but he did end up being the president. There was my dad there ready to greet him. And then another thing that I remember, a political thing that I remember really well, I had been authorized by the hospital to buy a couple of houses close to the hospital. They wanted to expand, and they had authorized me to buy these houses, and I agreed. And I just went to this one house to sign the final papers, and the lady came to the door and said, "Have you heard?" And I said, "What?" "They just shot John F. President Kennedy." And so we went in and listened to the TV, and it was a really, really traumatic thing to.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first time the President of the United States being shot. It was really hard to believe.
Yeah.
So those are some of my political things.
Awesome. Those are crazy. Okay, so now do I ask the second? Okay. So the second question I have is, do you remember the first time you saw something on TV? What was it, and how old were you?
I didn't grow up having a TV, and of course they were just the old black and white ones. I cannot remember my first experience. It seemed kind of strange and amazing that they could do that, but I don't really remember what the first program was. Do you?
No, but when you talk about TV, I think of radio. I grew up with radio, the Lone Ranger and the Shadow. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows. And the Lone Ranger and things like that. We used to listen to them a lot. But I do remember when TV came, it was black and white and it was quite fuzzy. And the only show I kind of remember, I'm not sure if it was Milton Berle or it was a comedy show of some sort or another. And it was pretty funny, even though it was fuzzy and so forth. So it was kind of a comedy show. That was the first one I remember.
That's cool. Okay. Should I ask another one?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know if this has already been asked, but what's your favorite Sunday meal? Like dinner, kind of.
Well, the one we just had with the
Yeah.
potatoes is really good. Sunday meals. For so many years, he was gone on Sundays all the time, so I didn't get really fancy as far as making Sunday meals. I remember special, like more Thanksgiving dinners when we would get together at Grandma's house, or we would go to equivalent of my grandparents on mother's side, the couple who adopted my mother's two youngest sisters, Uncle Jack and Aunt Grace, and she was from England and fixed amazing big fancy meals, and they were always really something to me to see how special she cooked. In her English, she was from England, and that's where the famous turkey onion sauce originated from.
Oh, really?
I loved it. She was the one that made that, and so that's become a tradition in our Thanksgiving dinners.
I didn't know that's where that came from.
Yeah.
What was your favorite one to cook, like to
They
prepare
were to
maybe?
cook. I don't remember that I ever cooked fancy Sunday. Do you
No.
remember growing up with fancy
No,
Sunday?
they were all,
Or just-
Sunday wasn't any different than Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just
For a lot of people it is, but yeah,
Yeah.
for us it
for
was.
us. It's like the one
For Sunday meals, as Gene mentioned, you know, for 30 or 40 years, I was gone most Sundays. And I always had fancy meals, you know, with the state presidents and so forth. But I can honestly say I enjoyed all of them. I enjoyed their hospitality and their desire to be helpful. But I really enjoyed the few Sundays that I was home, just being with the family, and most of the meals were relatively plain, which, I mean, I'm talking about they were good, but they weren't, you know, all the fancy.
More
basic.
just simple.
Yeah, simple, yeah.
Yeah, I should say simple rather than that. And honestly, the meal we had today, just meatloaf and potatoes, was one of the things that Gene did really well. We used to have what we call salmon loaf too, instead of meatloaf, just made out of salmon. That was really good. And then one of the things that Gene really was good at was these scalloped potatoes with onions and cream and so forth.
We've done those for a long time.
Potatoes for my
Yeah.
One of our basic ones
And
too is the green beans and new
The green
potatoes
bean
and
casserole,
onions.
yeah. Or the boiled potatoes and green beans,
The
Yeah.
garden beans.
Yeah.
yeah.
But I frankly enjoyed the simpler meals. They were just, it was just different, but
Yeah. Cool.
okay.
Awesome.
Alright,
We're good?
yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
But before we quit with
Oh.
eating, I think we need to hear what's going to happen a week from today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my farewell.
Yes,
For
tell
my
us
mission.
about it.
What about it?
Where are you going?
Oh, I'm going to Little Rock, Arkansas in 17 days. It's crazy. I can't
So
believe it's already
it's
here.
pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Will you be in the MTC at the same time as Ethan for a little
And-
while?
And Brian will be teaching there.
And Brian's
I don't
going to
know.
be teaching, that's right, he's
Wow.
going to be teaching
English, so
too.
he could be my teacher
Yeah.
also. That would
That'd
be
be
super cool.
something.
Yeah, so we're going to have to take
You
a
have to
picture
learn
of us.
English?
Huh?
I'm just teasing.
Oh, yeah. Yep, gotta go learn some English. But yeah,
Some Southern.
yeah, seriously. It's a whole other language.
Well, we're sure proud of you going to serve and excited to hear all your experiences.
It'll be an
Wonderful.
interesting place. I'm
So
sure.
you won't be here for the reunion next year,
Nope.
so we're
I
glad
know.
you're taking part in this way anyway.
Yeah. I know, you'll have to say hi to all my Aspen Grove people.
Just say it right now.
Yes, hi Aspen Grove people. Yeah. Okay.
Okay,